Hello, internet people. Uh, I was randomly doom scrolling, saw this video. I love my adventures with Superman, so naturally I watched the My Problem With clickbaity title here. Uh, and I just want to say, first off, no hate towards the guy. He seems chill, but his take is bad. It's no bueno. I disagree with a lot of what he says in this. Anyways, most of the start of this video is just him yapping. Right, this is when he starts talking about Greeks and his opinion on the aesthetics of the film.
But now the Zoomers done stole the word, and so nowadays aesthetic has become more.
I'm sorry, I hate that little aesthetic whispering stuff. It makes my skin crawl. But anyways,
More about expressing a vibe or a style. Like, bro, I be vibing with that. That's so aesthetic. See, that was me trying to act cool. Anyways, that's embarrassing. So the aesthetic around this show seems to be pretty hipster in nature, kind of like youth redefining their own style.
yeah, I would say that he's accurate with his thing on youth redefining style because this is, of course, meant for like a younger audience. I would say it's meant for like preteens, like sixth, seventh, just never mind. Early middle school can also be enjoyed by all ages, I believe, but that seems where it's directed at.
Kind of taking Superman and making him their own, which I have no problem with. It's like the vintage aesthetic or the minimalist aesthetic.
Or the dark and gritty Dark Knight aesthetic that was posted on Superman.
I guess you could say this is like the new adventures of Superman aesthetic. Basically this. This is Future Kenny, but after I pulled the script, I went and watched Man of Steel again. This shit is fucking great. Back to present Kenny.
Yeah, so this is kind of where the start of the complaints end up starting. Mainly because, he liked this movie. I'm not going to hold it too against him. Everyone can like their own version, but like this version's just not really anything like how Superman is meant to be. It has some good moments and some good parts, but Superman, the whole issue with Man of Steel is they're trying to portray Superman in a godlike way. And if you like that, all power to you, but that's not exactly what Superman's whole thing is.
See, the thing is, that might not have been your Superman, but it was
My Superman was the newest Superman movie. But yeah.
definitely my Superman. You see, I personally don't care about Lois's new haircut or Clark and his new sweet hipster satchel, or that he's this badass beefcake, if that's the right word to be using here.
Okay, one thing about the badass beefcake. Like, isn't that kind of like another big thing that was a part of Man of Steel? It's like, oh yeah, he's big, strong, beefcake guy. I mean, they didn't like give him that like Dorito-shaped torso, but
But, if you're into this show and you've been raving about it and you've been listening to those reviews, all these things probably mean a lot to you, which is aesthetic. Oh, by the
And again, the aesthetic thing, like, I feel like that's a kind of crappy complaint, but like the Dark Knight was felt more like an aesthetic Superman than an actual Superman. It felt like they leaned so much into the dark and gritty aesthetic for that movie that they sort of lost what Superman more so is, which is like the Boy Scout. Like everyone calls him like the Boy Scout superhero, like the hopeful, optimistic, bringing up helping up all the people around him sort of stuff. And now he's just going to go into how Lois Lane's design isn't original at all.
By the way, while I was looking for character sheet templates for...
This isn't really the important part. But, like, is her design the most original? Like, no, probably not. And that is, like, a valid complaint. But, like, I think her design is fine. I feel like her design alone can kind of tell you enough about about her character.
All right, first off, Lois. She's taking leaps of faith. She's trying things out. She is gambling on her career, which I think, in terms of writing and journalism, especially right around now, it's probably a really important thing to do. We know that Lois is definitely top 1% of her craft. And to be the top 1% of your craft, you do need to take a ton of chances. And this is definitely well reflected in her character here. So I gotta give a shout out to the voice actress, or actor, whatever the proper word is nowadays for Lois.
Like, I don't know, that line just, I don't know, that rubs me the wrong way a bit. The like, oh, whatever the proper word is nowadays. Like, it's still voice actress. It's always been like voice actress. I don't know, it just like feels weird and a little forced. I don't know if that's just me picking up on that or being too sensitive or whatever, but still.
So Alice Lee did a great job here. Look, there's a few hiccups in there, of course, but nobody's perfect, not even auto-tune. And the extraordinary, there is kind of a small third wheel setup scene that looks pretty promising. That is if they take their time to maybe give it an entire episode to pay off.
From what I remember of the first season, it's been a minute since I've watched the first season. I've only just recently finished the newest one. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they end up paying this off pretty well. This guy would have probably figured that out better if he didn't, stop after episode 4, but whatever.
With 3 best friends.
It could be promising for sure, but based on what I've seen, I'm definitely not holding my breath. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I didn't like about my adventures with Superman. So if you want to stay inside of your own little safe space and you don't value dissenting opinions, now is your chance to grab some bubble wrap or just get out of here and save yourself that rage comment. All right, you've been warned. Shit. Fuck my life. There's already a...
Oh, we're gonna say some stuff that'll offend you. Ah. Even though, in a way, I'm making this whole video because they said something that offended me. Anyways, yeah, let's just go on with the show now. But still, it's just like, oh, you might get offended by what I have to say. And it's just like, if you're making a review for something, I don't feel like you should have to tell people, click off now, guys, before you get offended. Just offend them. Ain't that big of a deal.
word for this. Trigger warning.
You're in denial.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
All right, so first things first, I think the creators were probably a little bit too eager to make Superman accessible to the crowd of people that probably just have no interest in the superhero genre. But in the process, they end up watering down the story, making it less Star Trek and more Star Wars.
What? I'm just curious. What, like, group... Like, maybe because I'm just too superhero brain rotted, but everyone knows about superheroes and, like, what, the newest Spider-Man that just came out made over $2 billion? And, Spider-Man being in one of the big 3 of not Marvel superheroes, comic book superheroes, him, Superman, and Batman. People do have interest in this, and I kind of just wish they elaborated a bit more on what group has no interest. Maybe they will later.
In the superhero genre. But in the process, they end up watering down the story, making it less Star Trek and more Star Wars. But in simpler terms, they just traded the complexity and the depth of the superhero genre for, well, aesthetic. This, of course, on its own is not in...
One thing about the trade complexity and depth, for aesthetic, like, is this cartoon as deep as something like, I don't know, The Dark Knight or something? No, but it's also like, it gets more deep and more interpersonal in the later seasons.
Inherently a bad thing. In fact, I think strategically it's a great idea. Get Superman to more people. But honestly, if you don't know who Superman is by now, it's kind of like the most recognized symbol in the world. I think in execution, it misfires quite a bit. Of course, it doesn't stumble all the time, and honestly, it's quite average. But the thing is, at its core, it makes me feel like the show just lacks overall common sense. So with all this misfiring here, there's just not enough for true fans of the superhero genre to stick around. See, this is definitely more slice of life than it is All-Star Superman or Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I would have to agree, especially in the earlier episodes. Later seasons, later episodes, it gets more into that, like, comic booky, you know, superheroes fighting each other. I think the main reason they have it the way to where it's more slice of lifey in the beginning is so you just have more of that time to develop and like the characters more and understand them more.
Which again, I have no problem with, but for me personally, I would just rather, I don't know, watch any of these slice of life animes. So I had a lot of problems with the show, but definitely my biggest gripe was that you have two probably college grads here. So let's call it 22, 20 if they graduated early, 18 if they're geniuses, fine, but they're acting like little kids. Thing is, this can work, but not with Superman. So look at Young Justice, for instance, season 1 pieces. And why am I bringing up Young Justice? So you see, Superman and Lois act like kids, but the thing is, they're adults, so this doesn't work. And I did a little digging, and it looks like a lot of the writers came from She-Ra, and it definitely shows here.
How many fucking streets to take before you realize this shit?
I don't know, I don't get it. But let's compare this to Young Justice, because the kids in Young Justice are supposed to be teens, but they're wise beyond their years, and sometimes taking the adults to task, even the Justice League. And again, they're supposed to be teens. I think the oldest of them is Artemis, which probably is 18, 19, 20. Instead, we see Lois, who is...
Senator Sackett! Lois Lane, the Daily Planet. Do you have a comment on the allegations that your re-election campaign is taking bribes from special interest groups?
Shit, wait, this is definitely gonna blow the production budget for this video. Ah, fuck it. Let's compare the interactions with adults. Now keep in mind, Young Justice, these kids are teenagers. Actually. And Clark and Lois are young adults.
Another quick thing, like, well, it's kind of fair comparison to compare Injustice to the show, but also not really. Young Justice is meant to be a way more serious show, you know, so it's gonna have more serious and like more in-depth conversations. But like the Superman show is not meant to be taken like super seriously. Like this isn't Batman. This is like this is Superman, who can have serious stories and has had them, but most of the time they're more lighthearted. So comparing like a super serious like kids show, a really good serious kids show, to a more lighthearted kid show is like comparing Teen Titans Go to like the OG Teen Titans, you know? Like they're going for two very different things.
Cat wants you three to get pictures of the event and quotes about Ivo from the people attending.
Wait. Are you saying you want us to do real journalism?
Just for tonight.
Our first assignment from the chief!
Don't call me Chief. And it's just for tonight.
Anything you want, Chief! Yes!
Don't make me regret this.
You handle that.
And we handle Neutron, right?
Right. Wait, his name's Neutron?
Yeah, sure. Heard him shout it. You know, like bad guys do. I'm Neutron. All of you will die. Anyway, what's the plan?
New interns out. Old intern stay. You do not report the news. You do not leave this building. Your job is to teach the interns how to scan things and make coffee. That's it.
Mr. White, for the good of
For
Metropolis.
the good of me, you need to stop coming in with these wild ideas. Do what I tell you to do. Lane, this is your last chance.
End results aside, we are not happy. You hacked Justice League systems, disobeyed direct orders, and endangered lives. You will not be doing this again.
I am sorry, but we will. Aqualad, stand down. Apologies, my king. But no. We did good work here tonight. The work you trained us to do.
Okay. These are very two different scenes. Like, yeah, there's still some, like, conflict and potential punishments and stuff like that, but it's like two very different levels of seriousness to it. Like, this is very, like, you know, they're all superheroes, teen superheroes learning to, you know, be better. And the other ones are just people at a job. Like, it doesn't seem like that much of a fair comparison, in my opinion.
Together, on our own, we forged something powerful, important.
But this is about your treatment at the hall. The three of you.
The four of us. And it's not.
Batman, we're ready to use what you taught us. Or why teach us at all?
Clark, you're all right. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you my plan to interview Superman. I put you in danger because of it, and I...
It's okay, Lois. I know how important this is for you. And I promise, from here on out, I'll do whatever I can to help you get that interview.
Actually, I just got it.
I finally become leader and wind up sending all of my friends to their deaths. I
Like, okay, this scene is very, like... Again, it just really... These shows don't seem that comparable, like, at all. Like, this is like comparing Shakespeare to, like, a buddy comedy film, you know? Like, you got this really in-depth, deep character analysis stuff to something that's more like daily-ish struggles. Like, of course this is gonna seem better. It's not like a fair comparison.
know I did what I had to, but I hated it. When we started this team, I was desperate to be in charge. Not anymore.
I'm just gonna skip this scene because I'm bored. Let's see how YG is not afraid to let the point sink in. Like, yeah.
But then I got small gripes
It's
left
not.
and right for days. Like, why is Superman wearing glasses even before he needs an alter ego to protect? Like, he doesn't really know he's Superman. I mean, he knows he's...
Okay, my rebuttal to that, like, small little nitpick point is, why do people who don't need glasses wear glasses in the first place? They like how they look. Kind of a dumb gripe, in my opinion. Like, he probably just likes glasses. Or when he was little needed them, and then when his powers started kicking in, he didn't need them, but just wanted to keep wearing glasses because he got used to them. Like, I wear glasses. I need them to do stuff, but I can also see mostly fine without them. And when I was little, didn't like wearing them. Older, I'll keep wearing them even when I do not need them for a specific thing because I'm too used to how they feel and I like them. So, yeah.
strong, but not that he's Superman. He's flying around in a cape. So why does he even need glasses here? And then what's with Martha here, Grunton? Is he trying to communicate with apes or something? And of course, I just want to make
That thing is people grunt when they're angry? What do you want from me?
fun of the transformation. I'm really indifferent about it. It's fine, but I made it short, so I'm going to plug it here.
Before the short starts, before watching this video, I completely forgot that was even, like, in it because how, like, barely used it was. Also, this whole short is about him complaining that, oh, they're gonna just start spam using it and stuff, and it'll save them so much money if they just keep spamming this one thing, which I think maybe at the most only happened twice. And plus, I don't want to plug his short.
Lies. No. I mean, she's straight up a liar, and she actually really doesn't get called out on this at all. And in fact, she gets love and affection for it. I've seen...
I understand what he's saying. I just wish maybe, like the Young Justice stuff, he showed some, like, examples of this, because when I watched it, I didn't really pick up on the fact that she was lying a lot, except for when, like, maybe she was doing her job as a reporter and lying to, like, sneak into some place. But, like, outside of that, I don't know. I don't remember her lying like that often. Like, the hell?
decades-long relationships in real life ruined for this kind of thing. But
Same.
I guess Clark is so desperate that he's like, I guess it was an oops, my bad moment for Lois. And finally, let's talk about the love story. The love story definitely feels really forced here, and it left me feeling like the relationships only work if these characters have never seen a member of the opposite sex before. What is love? Or, like, never logged on Tinder. It's neat and all, but it doesn't feel genuine given the target market.
I would probably say my sort of complaint with the like getting them to date thing. It was just like kind of forgettable, and that it did feel like they had to like just do some of the Superman tropes of, oh, Lois jumping off of a building and Clark having to reveal himself by saving her and stuff. But outside of like that, I kind of just don't remember the them getting together like at all. I should rewatch this.
Anyways, every relationship is different, and no two people who love each other will communicate in the same way. So I wasn't a fan of the dialogue between them, but I really can't hold it against this show. Dialogue's dialogue. This is probably how normal people act. I don't know. That's not how I act. Okay, here's
Yeah, I don't know how anyone acts. I've never been outside ever. Yeah. I'm actually chained to the floor or to my chair.
the moment where I want to actually pause the humor because, quite frankly, Superman was definitely one of my favorite characters growing up. While all the cool kids didn't even read comics, and the other nerds were being edgelords and reading Batman, I was definitely reading Superman. See, the beauty of the superhero storytelling lies in its ability to leverage fantastical elements to convey.
Okay, where was I? I like what he was saying. I just also feel like he's just trying to pad the runtime.
For the betterment of humanity. Stories like that only work through the fantastical worlds that they are told in. See, the thing is, the story of My Adventures with Superman can serve as a reflection of the challenges and triumphs of navigating a world that balances the ordinary and the extraordinary, the mundane, the magical, the human, and the superhuman. Regrettably, this show fails to capitalize on that potential.
Like, I don't see how it fails to capitalize on that potential. It does like all of those things. And like, again, the investing in aesthetics and abstraction stuff, like saying it's prioritizing aesthetic and like graphics and art style over like what it actually stands for. Isn't that quite literally what Man of Steel was doing for most of it? They were more so capitalizing on the, but you know, like the edgy, like, Batman, Dark Boys, all my criminals are horrible, evil people, and more capitalizing on that aesthetic than it does the actual like what Superman is like. Like I saw that movie in theaters and at home, and I just thought Superman was boring in that entire movie. Like I used to dislike Superman because it didn't seem like he had anything that made him special, and he was just, oh, he's super overpowered and saves the day. And then I like slowly got out of that, and the biggest contributor to me getting out of that thinking Superman is lame was the newest Superman movie, James Gunn's Superman, and also this show. Let me put his sound back on.
It delivers a series that's too invested in aesthetics and abstraction, resulting in a watered-down narrative that neglects the complexities of the superhero genre.
Like, I'd say they cover the complexities decently well, but yeah, I mean, this Superman stuff. Oh my God, I hate you. Sorry, there's a train.
Resulting in a watered-down narrative that neglects the complexities of the superhero genre that us nerds have come to appreciate. This analysis brings me to the uncomfortable final question, which is, why use the world of Superman?
Okay, first of all, like, why would they use Superman to tell this story? Because it's a good story. Superman's a great hero who you can tell a lot of different stories with. I mean, I know I spent a chunk of this video criticizing Man of Steel, but it can still kind of show the diversity you can do with Superman and make him more of a godlike protector-like character that movie did, and still make a decent budget and still have people like that interpretation. Also, Superman's cool. Like, why not use Superman for this type of story, you know?